flesh versus the marathon. If you are a savvy Catholic and you pay close attention, you notice that while the Passion is the same in all four Gospels in terms of the basic plot, there are very small differences between Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And this is the only time in 3 years, because Luke is the only one who contains the narrative between the two criminals and Jesus. You didn't hear it last year, you're not going to hear it next year, and you're never going to hear it on Good Friday. It's only in Luke's Gospel, these two criminals. And when you cover the Passion with kids, they'll say to you, well, these two criminals all of a sudden appear like at the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 outs. Like, who are these men who are crucified with Jesus? The scriptures don't give us their names. It just says they were criminals. What did they do? Who were they? Like, it seems like those are kind of important details for these guys who suddenly became famous. And you're not going to hear about them for 3 more years, and I may be dead in 3 more years. So I want to say something about them today just very briefly. Like, why don't they give us their names? Why don't they tell us who is this guy who says, "Are you the Christ? Well, save yourself, and while you're at it, save me too." Why don't they give us his name? The answer is, it doesn't have to give us his name. You know who that is. You were already told. You were already told if you've been paying attention. Don't look now, but if you go back to page 83 in your missal at after Mass, when we had the story of the temptations of Jesus on the first Sunday of Lent, 3 times the devil says, "Aren't you the Christ? Well, then turn these stones into bread." And it said at the end of the reading, he left Jesus alone. For a time, he'll be back. He always is. It's the devil who's hanging on the cross with Christ, saying, just as he said on page 83, "Aren't you the Christ? Well, then do something here." And what's his crime? Stealing. Because he's trying to steal Jesus' identity from him. Because to come down off the cross would mean that Jesus loved himself more than us. And that's the greatest thing you can give away, is your identity. Why did we have the woman caught in adultery last week? Because adultery is a serious crime. Because you are less than what you said you would be. Faithful. For Jesus to come down off the cross, and he could have, would be to be untrue to himself. And that's the ultimate theft. See how that happened? And you don't need the name of the good thief. Because we hope the good thief is us. There's only one thing that every single one of us in this room needs to hear. And it's not that you won the lottery. It's not that your team won the Super Bowl. It's that when you die, you will hear, "Today, you'll be with me in paradise." See how those two things happen? The one is the devil, and the other, I hope, is us. Let us stand, my friends, and approach